In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to add a scale bar and a key to this map, and then export that map as an image that we can use in a Word document and our Phase 1 survey report. And the way we do that is we go to New Print Layout, and we need to give it a title. Probably just the site name. And it'll bring up a new window with a blank canvas, and we'll need to add items in here. And the first thing we want to add is that map. So we draw our box and it'll bring the map in. Now, the first time you use this, the zooming in and out can be a bit frustrating. This tool with the magnifying glass will zoom the whole canvas. That's not what we want. We want this one with the blue arrows in it. And that one allows us to zoom in and out within that box. And you might find that you can't quite get it exactly the right size just by zooming in and out with that tool. But over here, we've got some item properties. You might start off on layout. If you go to item properties, you've got a scale there, and you can enter that manually. So let's try 7,000, or maybe one that's bigger than that still. There we go. And then move it around until we're happy that the scale is okay. Talking of scale, we want to add a scale bar. And we do that by adding item, hitting scale bar, and drawing it in. And we can customize this scale bar a little bit. We might decide we want it in kilometers, but in this case, it's such a small area, we're probably going to stick with meters. And we might want a few more segments, so we can add those to the left, but I feel that makes less sense than adding them to the right, and we can take that up to maybe 300 meters. And you can play with these settings until you're happy with your scale bar. As well as the scale bar, you'll need to add a north arrow. I like to choose one that's actually got an N in it. So if you select north arrow and arrows, you'll get a selection of them, and that one has an N. And you can change the fill color. I'm just going to go with black. The next thing I want to add is a key. I understand there's a bit of confusion over what a legend is. So in science, we typically label our figures with a legend underneath, a figure legend, and it'll say figure 1 and describe what the figure is or what the map is. But in Excel and QGIS, that refers to a key, what we'd call a key normally. So if I hit add legend and draw it in, it's drawn me a key, but it's clearly too big at the moment. Okay, so there's a few things I can do. First of all, I can remove all these ones that I'm not actually using. I don't want anything in here that isn't actually on the map. Before I can edit anything, I need to untick this auto update button, otherwise it won't let me do anything. And then I can select and remove items using the red remove selected items button. So I'm going to remove all the habitats that I haven't actually got in my map. So I do have some broadleaf woodland. I don't have the next two. I do have coniferous plantation, and both those kinds of scrub. And then I don't think I have anything until neutral grassland. Unimproved, and everything else can go. I need to do the same for boundaries. I believe we've just got one here, so that's down in the J's, intact hedge, species rich. There we go. I may decide that I'm going to change the order. I'm going to bring the target notes down to the bottom and the boundaries after the habitats. I think that makes some sense. Just by clicking on the outline, that's updated in here, and you'll see that it still doesn't fit, and that means I need to change the font size. There we go, fonts and text. It's the item labels that are too big, so we can left click there, and reduce the font size until it does fit for me. I may decide that the spacing's not quite right there, so if I put spacing and add some gaps between the subgroups, I can spread them out a little bit more. So we have survey area, and then we have habitats and boundaries. I'm fairly happy with that. But target notes doesn't make a lot of sense here. We've got a title that says target notes, and then the symbol with target note written after it as well. And then we've got the numbers here that don't yet relate to anything. So I've got some options here. What I could do is go to target notes and double click on it. I probably want to delete the title. It's not going to let me have an empty title, but it will let me have a space, and that will disappear. And if I use the arrow to go back and click on target notes, I can write what I want in here. So I could put a list in. And have something like that. But often your target notes will have more information in them. If you look at the handbook, you might find that it recommends that you write a description of what's going on there, maybe make a note of several different species, things like that. So you might have a separate table. Okay, so one option for this is to actually refer to it. So you could put C table 1, and you might see that in some reports. I'm still not quite happy with this. I feel like I need a title, key, and I perhaps want my survey area lower down. One thing you might notice on some professionally produced maps is they will have a border around them. In item properties we have, if I minimize some of these, it'll be more obvious. There we go, frame. And if I click on frame, the default is a black one, and it'll have a default thickness as well. And I can do that for each item. You might note that I haven't got a title in my figure at all. Some firms will put that in, perhaps in this area here, but for our assignment, I'm going to encourage you to use the method that we use in scientific reports, and we're going to label our map underneath with figure 1, probably name the study site, and perhaps describe what it shows. However, if I wanted to add a box with some text in here, I can do that by adding a label. And I might want to line that up with the other parts of the other elements to the map. And I edit over in the main properties. And I can perhaps put some of the things that applied ecology put in there. You'll see that a lot of firms will put their logo in at this stage, and we can do that by adding an item, add picture, drawing space for the picture, choosing raster image, and then you navigate to wherever you've stored your file, and there's the University of Suffolk's logo. And you can move things around until you're happy with it. I'm not quite happy with the gap between the key symbols and the text there, especially where we have text in the symbol itself. So I'm going to change the spacing on that as well. And that's symbol label space. So I can click that up and those will move across for me. Now, before I do anything else, I'm going to save the project. You will have been saving periodically as you work. And then you'll want to export this as an image that you can include in your Word documents and your Phase 1 survey report. The way you do that is to go to Layout, Export as Image, and you can save there, and it will bring up an image export options box with the resolutions in. And now the export resolution is set to 300 dots per inch. That's a typical print resolution, but it doesn't mean anything unless you know how big the image is. And that's actually in pixels. So if you divide this by this, you've got the number of inches across it is. I apologize that it's in inches rather than centimeters, but that's the legacy we have. And you'll see that that's more than 10 inches across, isn't it? Which should be easily big enough for any report that we're making. So that's plenty of resolution. So we can save that. And it will think about it for a while. It's processing the map and exporting an image. And you should be able to open your map in whichever software you open your JPEGs with. And you'll be able to import that into your Word documents to use in your Phase 1 survey reports.